Ready to study abroad? ALEA offers exceptional test prep to launch your global academic adventure. Your future starts here.
Listen to a lecture. Length of the lecture can be between 60 seconds to 90 seconds. Retell the lecture in your own words. You will get 40 seconds to record. Take note while listening to the audio. Do not worry if you miss some words or parts of the lecture. Before the recording starts, take a glance at your notes. Use the retell lecture script to get flow and clarity.
What I want to discuss today is one of the most iconic paintings in art history, Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. Now, many of you will be familiar with its swirling, energetic sky and the prominent cypress tree, but I want to delve into what makes this particular work so enduringly captivating. Completed in June 1889, during his voluntary stay at an asylum, it's often seen as a reflection of his emotional turmoil. Yet it also showcases his profound connection to nature and his unique vision. The impasto technique, where paint is laid thickly on the canvas, gives the painting a three-dimensional quality, almost as if the stars are truly bursting forth from the canvas. While it's a night scene, it pulses with a vibrant energy, a testament to Van Gogh's belief in the spiritual power of the natural world. He didn't just paint what he saw, he painted what he felt, imbuing the landscape with his intense inner life. The painting, in essence, becomes a window into his soul, allowing us to experience the world through his eyes, even in his darkest moments.
The topic of this lecture is Vincent's painting, The Starry Night. The lecturer mentioned it as an iconic painting. The speaker talked about Vincent's emotional turmoil. The lecturer further mentioned his connection to nature and unique vision. The speaker not only explained Vincent's belief in the spiritual power, but also discussed his intense inner life. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned the three-dimensional quality of the painting. Overall, the speech is very informative. Today we're going to explore a crucial neurotransmitter in the brain, dopamine. Often referred to as the feel-good chemical, dopamine plays a far more complex role than simply mediating pleasure. Its primary function is in the brain's reward system. When we engage in behaviors essential for survival, like eating or drinking, or even social interaction, dopamine is released, reinforcing those behaviors and making us want to repeat them. This system is vital for learning and motivation. However, the same pathway that drives healthy behaviors can be hijacked by addictive substances and behaviors. Drugs like cocaine and amphetamines flood the brain with dopamine, creating an intense surge of pleasure and powerful cravings, leading to compulsive use. Understanding this intricate interplay between dopamine, reward, and addiction is fundamental to developing effective treatments for substance use disorders. It's not just about pleasure, it's about the very machinery of motivation and reinforcement within our brains.
The topic of this lecture is dopamine, a crucial neurotransmitter in the brain. The lecturer mentioned it as the feel-good chemical. The speaker talked about its complex role and primary function. The lecturer further mentioned that the system is vital for learning and motivation. The speaker not only explained addictive substances and behaviors, but also discussed the intense surge of pleasure. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned the very machinery of motivation and reinforcement. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Our topic today is one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, the Black Death. Spreading across Europe and Asia in the mid-14th century, this bubonic plague, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, wiped out an estimated 30% to 50% of Europe's population. But beyond the sheer death toll, I want to emphasize its profound societal aftermath. The drastic population decline led to a severe labor shortage, empowering the surviving peasants and challenging the feudal system. Wages rose and serfs gained more freedom. The authority of the church also faced scrutiny as prayers and remedies failed to halt the plague's spread, leading to a rise in religious skepticism and new theological movements. Furthermore, the trauma of mass death influenced art, literature, and even medical practices, fostering a new focus on anatomical study. The Black Death was not merely a biological catastrophe, it was a catalyst that reshaped European society, economy, and culture in fundamental ways, paving the way for future transformations.
The topic of this lecture is the Black Death. The lecturer mentioned it as one of the most destructive pandemics in human history. The speaker talked about the mid-14th century. The lecturer further mentioned that 30% to 50% of the population of Europe was affected. The speaker not only explained the root cause of this, but also discussed how there was a shortage of labor. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that the trauma of mass death influenced art and literature. Overall, the speech is very informative. Moving to marine biology, we'll now examine one of the most extraordinary discoveries of the 20th century, deep-sea hydrothermal vent ecosystems. For a long time, it was believed that life on Earth was fundamentally dependent on sunlight for energy. However, in the late 1970s, scientists discovered thriving communities of organisms clustered around volcanic vents on the ocean floor, at depths where sunlight never penetrates. These ecosystems are fueled by chemosynthesis, a process where microorganisms convert chemicals, primarily hydrogen sulfide, expelled from the vents into energy, forming the base of the food web. Giant tube worms, mussels, clams, and unique species of shrimp and crabs flourish in these extreme environments, enduring crushing pressures and superheated, toxic water. This discovery revolutionized our understanding of life's potential, demonstrating that life can exist in the absence of sunlight and offering tantalizing possibilities for life on other planets, particularly those with subsurface oceans.
The topic of this lecture is deep-sea hydrothermal vent ecosystems. The lecturer mentioned it as one of the most extraordinary discoveries of the 20th century. The speaker talked about organisms clustered around volcanic vents. The lecturer further mentioned that these ecosystems are fueled by chemosynthesis. The speaker not only explained a process where microorganisms convert chemicals, but also discussed that discovery revolutionized our understanding of life's potential. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that life can exist in the absence of sunlight. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Today, we're discussing an invention that fundamentally reshaped human civilization: the printing press. While rudimentary forms of printing existed earlier, it was Johannes Gutenberg's perfection of movable type in the mid-15th century that truly democratized knowledge. Before this, books were painstakingly copied by hand, making them expensive, rare, and accessible only to a select few. The printing press drastically reduced the cost and time of book production, leading to an explosion in literacy and the dissemination of ideas. It played a pivotal role in the Protestant Reformation, allowing religious texts to be widely distributed, and fueled the Renaissance by spreading classical knowledge. Scientific discoveries could be shared more rapidly, and vernacular languages gained prominence as books became available to broader audiences. The printing press didn't just reproduce texts. It ignited intellectual revolutions, fostered public discourse, and laid the groundwork for modern mass communication.
The topic of this lecture is the invention of the printing press. The lecturer mentioned that it reshaped human civilization. The speaker talked about the mid-15th century. The lecturer further mentioned Gutenberg's contribution. The speaker not only explained how it reduced the cost of book production, but also discussed its role in spreading cultural knowledge. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that the scientific discoveries could be shared quickly. Overall, the speech is very informative. In the realm of art, we'll turn our attention to abstract expressionism, a post-World War II art movement that profoundly influenced American art. Emerging in New York City in the 1940s, it emphasized spontaneous, emotional expression, often on large-scale canvases. Artists like Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and Willem de Kooning rejected traditional artistic conventions, focusing instead on the process of creation and the emotional content of their work. Pollock's drip paintings, for example, were not about depicting reality, but about the physicality of the act of painting itself, a direct pouring out of his inner state. Rothko's large color fields aim to evoke profound spiritual or emotional experiences in the viewer through the interplay of pure color. Abstract expressionism was a powerful assertion of individual freedom and a move away from representational art, reflecting the anxieties and aspirations of the post-war era and cementing New York's position as a global art capital.
The topic of this lecture is abstract expressionism. The lecturer mentioned it as a post-World War II art movement. The speaker talked about the influence of it on American art. The lecturer further mentioned artists like Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko. The speaker not only explained the emotional content of their work, but also discussed the physicality of the act of painting itself. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that abstract expressionism was a powerful assertion of individual freedom. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Today, we're examining the transformative force of e-commerce, a phenomenon that has fundamentally reshaped global business. Beginning with early online retailers in the 1990s, e-commerce has grown exponentially, enabling consumers to purchase goods and services directly over the internet. Its disruptive power lies in several key areas. Firstly, it removes geographical barriers, allowing businesses to reach a global customer base. Secondly, it often eliminates the need for physical storefronts, reducing overhead costs and potentially leading to lower prices for consumers. Thirdly, it has fostered direct-to-consumer models, bypassing traditional intermediaries and giving brands greater control over their customer relationships. However, this rise also presents challenges, including intense competition, logistical complexities, and the need for robust cybersecurity. E-commerce is not just a sales channel, it's a pervasive economic force that continues to evolve, pushing traditional businesses to innovate or risk obsolescence.
The topic of this lecture is the impact of e-commerce. The lecturer mentioned that it has reshaped global business. The speaker talked about the period of the 1990s. The lecturer further mentioned purchasing goods over the internet. The speaker not only explained the global consumer base, but also discussed low overhead costs. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned its challenges. Overall, the speech is very informative. Our focus now shifts to a critical global issue, the melting of Arctic ice. The Arctic region is warming at a rate 2 to 3 times faster than the global average, a phenomenon known as Arctic amplification. This rapid warming is causing the extensive sea ice, which has historically covered the Arctic Ocean, to thin and shrink dramatically, particularly during the summer months. The consequences of this melting are far-reaching. Firstly, it contributes to global sea level rise, threatening coastal communities worldwide. Secondly, the loss of reflective ice means more dark ocean waters exposed, absorbing more solar radiation, and accelerating the warming process in a dangerous feedback loop. Thirdly, it disrupts traditional hunting grounds and migration patterns for indigenous communities in Arctic wildlife, such as polar bears and seals, pushing species to the brink. Understanding the dynamics of Arctic ice melt is crucial as it serves as a stark indicator of global warming and has profound implications for the entire planet's climate system.
The topic of this lecture is the melting of Arctic ice. The lecturer mentioned that the Arctic region is warming at a faster rate than the global average. The speaker talked about the cause of the extensive sea ice loss. The lecturer further mentioned that the consequences of this melting are far-reaching. The speaker not only explained that it contributes to global sea level rise, but also discussed the acceleration of the warming process. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that understanding the dynamics of Arctic ice melt is crucial. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Today, we delve into a fascinating geographical phenomenon, the formation of deserts. Deserts, characterized by extremely arid conditions and sparse vegetation, cover about 1/3 of the Earth's land surface. Their formation is primarily due to a combination of atmospheric circulation patterns and geographical features. The most common type, subtropical deserts like the Sahara, form under high-pressure zones around 30 degrees latitude north and south of the equator. Here, dry air descends, warms, and prevents cloud formation and precipitation. Rain shadow deserts, on the other hand, form on the leeward side of mountain ranges. As moist air rises over the mountains, it cools, condenses, and releases its moisture as precipitation. By the time it descends the other side, it's dry, creating an arid zone. Finally, polar deserts like those in Antarctica are cold and dry because the air holds very little moisture. Understanding these mechanisms helps us appreciate the diverse factors that shape our planet's extreme landscapes.
The topic of this lecture is the formation of deserts. The lecturer mentioned its extreme conditions. The speaker talked about atmospheric circulation patterns and geographical features. The lecturer further mentioned the Sahara Desert. The speaker not only explained the subtropical desert and the rain desert, but also discussed the polar desert. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned the diverse factors that shape our planet's landscape. Overall, the speech is very informative. We'll now turn our attention to the fascinating world of wolves, focusing on their behavioral ecology. Wolves, Canis lupus, are apex predators renowned for their complex social structures and highly coordinated hunting strategies. They live in packs, typically extended family groups, led by an alpha male and female. This pack structure is crucial for their survival, enabling them to bring down large prey like elk and bison, which would be impossible for a solitary wolf. Communication within the pack is sophisticated, involving a rich repertoire of howls, growls, body language, and scent marking. Pups are raised communally, with all pack members contributing to their care and education. While often misunderstood and historically persecuted, wolves play a vital role in maintaining ecosystem health by regulating prey populations and promoting biodiversity. Studying their intricate social dynamics provides valuable insights into animal intelligence, cooperation, and the delicate balance of natural ecosystems.
The topic of this lecture is behavioural ecology of wolves. The lecturer mentioned that wolves are excellent predators. The speaker talked about their complex social structures. The lecturer further mentioned that they have highly coordinated hunting strategies. The speaker not only explained their family groups, but also discussed their methods of communication and body language. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that wolves play a vital role in maintaining ecosystem health by regulating prey populations. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Today we're discussing the Green Revolution, a period of dramatic increase in agricultural production worldwide, particularly in the developing world, that began in the mid-20th century. Spearheaded by scientists like Norman Borlaug, it involved the development of high-yielding varieties of staple crops, primarily wheat and rice, alongside the increased use of irrigation, fertilizers, and pesticides. The goal was to combat widespread hunger and famine. And indeed, the Green Revolution significantly boosted food production, saving millions of lives and preventing widespread starvation in countries like India and Mexico. However, its implementation also brought forth significant consequences. It led to a reliance on synthetic inputs, causing environmental concerns like water pollution and soil degradation. It also exacerbated economic inequalities, as smaller farmers often couldn't afford the new technologies, leading to displacement and increased debt. So, while a monumental achievement in food security, the Green Revolution also highlighted the complex trade-offs inherent in large-scale technological interventions in agriculture.
The topic of this lecture is the Green Revolution. The lecturer mentioned an increase in agricultural production worldwide. The speaker talked about the mid-20th century. The lecturer further mentioned the development of high-yielding varieties of crops like wheat and rice. The speaker not only explained a significant boost in food production, but also discussed environmental concerns like water pollution. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned technological inventions in agriculture. Overall, the speech is very informative. Our subject for today is the magnificent temple complex of Angkor Wat, located in Cambodia. Built in the early 12th century by King Suryavarman II, it stands as the largest religious monument in the world and a stunning example of Khmer architecture. Originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, it later transitioned to Buddhist use. What makes Angkor Wat truly remarkable is its sheer scale and intricate detail. The central temple mountain, with its 5 lotus bud towers, represents Mount Meru, the mythical home of the gods. The surrounding galleries are adorned with thousands of exquisite bas-reliefs depicting Hindu myths, historical events, and everyday life, offering a unique window into Khmer society. Its precise astronomical alignment, with the sun rising directly over its central tower on the equinoxes, further showcases the advanced scientific and engineering knowledge of its builders. Angkor Wat is not merely a ruin, it's a powerful symbol of Cambodia's rich cultural heritage and a testament to the extraordinary artistic and architectural achievements of the Khmer Empire.
The topic of this lecture is the magnificent temple complex of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. The lecturer mentioned that it was built in the early 12th century by King Suryavarman II. The speaker talked about its sheer scale and intricate detail. The lecturer further mentioned that its 5 lotus bud towers represent Mount Meru. The speaker not only explained the advanced scientific and engineering knowledge of its builders, but also discussed the historical events and everyday life of Khmer society. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that it's a powerful symbol of Cambodia's rich cultural heritage. Overall, the speech is very informative.
In psychology, we'll explore the concept of cognitive dissonance, a powerful and often uncomfortable psychological phenomenon. First proposed by Leon Festinger in the 1950s, cognitive dissonance refers to the mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual who holds contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values, or is confronted by new information that conflicts with existing beliefs, ideas, or values. For example, if someone believes in environmental protection but drives a large, fuel-inefficient car, they might experience dissonance. To reduce this discomfort, individuals often modify one of their beliefs, change their behavior, or rationalize their actions. They might minimize the negative impact of their driving or seek out information that supports their choice. This drive to reduce dissonance highlights our innate human need for consistency in our thoughts and actions. Understanding cognitive dissonance helps explain a wide range of human behaviors, from consumer choices to political attitudes, and how we cope when faced with inconsistencies in our lives.
The topic of this lecture is cognitive dissonance. The lecturer mentioned Leon Festinger in the period of the 1950s. The speaker talked about mental stress and contradictory beliefs. The lecturer further mentioned modifying beliefs and changing behavior. The speaker not only explained the consistency in thoughts, but also discussed a wide range of human behaviors. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned political attitudes. Overall, the speech is very informative. Our topic for today is the space race, a captivating period of intense competition between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Beginning in the mid-20th century, this rivalry wasn't just about scientific advancement. It was a proxy battle for ideological supremacy, technological dominance, and global prestige. The launch of Sputnik in 1957 by the Soviets shocked the U.S. and ignited the race. This competition spurred unprecedented innovation, leading to rapid advancements in rocket technology, satellite communication, and computer science. Iconic achievements like Yuri Gagarin becoming the first human in space, and ultimately Neil Armstrong's moon landing in 1969, captivated the world and pushed the boundaries of human capability. While rooted in geopolitical tensions, the space race undeniably yielded immense scientific and technological dividends that continue to benefit humanity today. From weather forecasting to GPS navigation, demonstrating how fierce competition can drive extraordinary progress.
The topic of this lecture is the space race. The lecturer mentioned the intense competition between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The speaker talked about the rapid advancements in rocket technology, satellite communication, and computer science. The lecturer further mentioned that this competition brought unprecedented innovation. The speaker not only explained it as a battle for ideological supremacy, but also discussed its role in getting technological dominance and global prestige. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned that the space race continues to benefit humanity today. Overall, the speech is very informative.
Finally, let's consider a contemporary issue with profound implications for the future: the impact of artificial intelligence on employment. AI, defined as the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, is rapidly evolving, with capabilities ranging from complex data analysis to creative content generation. While AI offers immense potential for increased productivity, efficiency, and the creation of entirely new industries, it also raises significant concerns about job displacement. Routine, repetitive tasks, both manual and cognitive, are particularly vulnerable to automation. This could lead to a significant reshuffling of the labor market, requiring large-scale reskilling and upskilling of the workforce. However, it's also important to consider the potential for job creation in areas related to AI development, maintenance, and oversight. The challenge lies in navigating this transition, ensuring that the benefits of AI are widely distributed, and preparing society for a future where the nature of work may be fundamentally redefined.
The topic of this lecture is the impact of artificial intelligence on employment. The lecturer mentioned complex data analysis and creative content generation. The speaker talked about increased productivity and efficiency. The lecturer further mentioned concerns about job displacement. The speaker not only explained the labor market, but also discussed the upskilling of the workforce. Additionally, the lecturer mentioned the benefits of AI. Overall, the speech is very informative.